Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to take a look at the astrological energies from January 8th until January 15th, where we have Mercury entering Capricorn. The nodes of fate change signs for the next 18 months, plus a very dynamic Cancer full moon. I'm going to touch on all of that in today's show, plus more of the transiting aspects of the week ahead. But I wanted to start with a few messages here. First of all, we are still coming off of that exact opposition between Mars retrograde in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius that occurred at 1 degree of each sign on January 3rd. Now, I discussed that in last Wednesday's show about how this is an opportunity to create a new bridge for yourself, a bridge of enlightenment, a bridge of empowerment, and how to focus on using this energy and harnessing it at a higher level. This is push comes to shove energy, and sometimes the universe is requiring you to shift or change something at a very deep level of your being in order to go higher. So even though we talk about how intense these energies are, and it can be interpreted as challenges or in a negative way, which is certainly a way it can play out, there's always higher positive opportunities. I actually just experienced this in my life in the past week. I had a wonderful development occur because of this Mars-Pluto opposition. So your willingness to go higher, your willingness to be more in your power and to step into more of your higher dimensional self, which is what Pluto in Aquarius is seeking from us. There's more that's going to open up for you, and to remember that you are a powerful creator, and to make sure that that is the mindset you are harnessing and working from, especially throughout the rest of this month, because we're going to continue to have a lot going on between the old and the new. What feels safe versus where you're being encouraged to move and own a part of your energy in a higher way. Over this next week especially, we have a strong focus on the Cancer and Capricorn axis in our charts. Now, that's because the Sun is in Capricorn and Mercury is in Capricorn as of January 8th. We also have this Mars retrograde in Cancer and the upcoming Cancer full moon on January 13th at 24 degrees. So note that in your astrology chart, you want to identify where you have Cancer and Capricorn energies, as this is where you are feeling perhaps that push and pull, that intense dynamic between what you feel and what you need to take care of. Cancer is our roots, our home, our family, where we go for safety and comfort. Capricorn is our professional world, responsibilities, what we need to take care of and manage, where we have to show up and get things done. Of course, just a simple overview of those energies. But when they're working together, which is actually the higher point of every opposition in the zodiac wheel. When they're working together and using each other's strengths, you're creating a third force of strength. So when you're using the Cancer energy with the Capricorn energy, your ability to contain your emotions, to take charge, to focus on goals, to be aware of what's going on in your inner world at the same time, you're accessing a third force of power that is developed through the merging of those oppositional energies. So again, focus on going higher. Focus on how both the Cancer and Capricorn energies can work together to create that third alchemy point, that third force of energy that allows each to be strong and to show up with a willingness to grow, especially to grow together. Now, also a quick note that this Mars returning into Cancer is taking that fiery energy of Leo back into the softer, quieter expressions of Cancer. So you could be internalizing or working through something. You might need more time and space as well to get to the heart of something that ultimately is supporting you in your own growth and in what you are reprogramming at an emotional level. There's the opportunity here for much greater strength as a result of this energy. Now, also keep in mind that at a practical level, we're seeing this Mars retrograde in Cancer show up as the very dangerous wildfires occurring in the Los Angeles area right now. As of this recording, there are 3 active wildfires, creating thousands of evacuations, destroying many homes and structures, 0% containment, and a lot that is uncertain. So I would ask and invite you to please use your powerful energy abilities and skills as an earth worker to calm these fires, to work with the elements in order to extinguish them, diffuse them, and to put them out, to guide all beings, emergency workers, first responders, families, and residents to be safe and take all necessary actions for safety. Visualizing the fire being extinguished collectively can be one way that we use our powers, especially our multidimensional energy powers, to stop the damage, harm, destruction, and turmoil that these events cause. I'm hoping that the strong Pisces energies that we have right now with Venus in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces bring about the needed water and even unexpected rainfall to put out the fires. Now, getting into what is occurring astrologically this week, Mercury has finally left Sagittarius, where it has been for the past 2 months due to the retrograde activity, and now Mars is in Capricorn, where it will actually move quickly and stay only a few weeks until entering Aquarius January 28th. So Mercury in Capricorn takes charge, gets things done, is ready to return to the work that needs to be completed, our tasks at hand, and wants us to be very productive. This may even be welcomed mental clarity and a sense of purpose that comes through in your words, your thoughts, your ideas, and what you want to take care of, especially now that the new year is underway. Mercury in Capricorn can work on its own, and you might find that you need to be in your office or at your desk in order to be as productive as you'd like to be and to not waste time on any frivolous matters or inconsequential topics. Mercury in Capricorn is all business right now and does not want any distractions. So if that's what you're feeling, certainly honor that for yourself, knowing how supported it is here as we move through January. Also on January 8th, we have the Sun in Capricorn squaring Chiron in Aries at 19 degrees. This is the same Chiron in Aries we've been talking about for a while now, as it is slowly moving ahead after stationing direct the end of December and still hanging out at 19 degrees of Aries, which is the solar eclipse point of last April. So here comes that sun squaring Chiron, shining a light on a new angle of the same healing theme. And that sun in Capricorn is a push to take charge, perhaps shoving you into an area of discomfort or insecurity, bringing up something that maybe you don't feel ready for, but the sun in Capricorn is about get it done. Let's work on this. Let's move it ahead. What's the status? Where's your progress? And you could be feeling that the middle of the week here as that sun in Capricorn reveals what needs to be taken care of, what needs to be shifted that applies to the same healing theme that started back in April 2024. This can bring up greater sensitivity and uncertainty. And again, it could be pushing you into a new endeavor, new responsibility, or a new part of yourself that you're gaining strength around. So if you can see it in that light, that could help reduce any of that excess pressure, fear, worry, or insecurity that Chiron in Aries is working through. Now from January 8th until January 12th, we don't have many transiting aspects in the cosmos. It's a little bit of a quieter period. Now we always have the transiting moon, but every planet is basically doing its own thing. It's not in an intense connection or conversation with another planet. There's no exact aspects occurring. So yes, there can be aspects in play that are in orb, meaning they are a few degrees apart, but there's no exact aspects from January 8th until January 12th. And this could be a very productive time period. You could be able to focus on those Capricorn endeavors, get caught up, get organized, look at the year ahead, perhaps do some planning or understand what your priorities are right now and how to make the most of the time that's available to you. So keep in mind that when there are no exact transiting aspects. Sometimes the energy feels quieter. It also can feel more simple, more focused, and that you are simply in more of your own timeline without interferences. Then on January 12th, Mars retrograde in Cancer is trining Neptune in Pisces at 27 degrees. This is an exact trine that is approaching for a number of days beforehand. And when the exact trine occurs, there is a stronger connection here between this Mars retrograde and that Neptune in Pisces. Now, Neptune in Pisces is the stronger energy and the stronger influence, and it is coming through to provide support, higher perspective, and intuitive messages around whatever that Mars retrograde in Cancer is dealing with. Neptune in Pisces is your higher self, your guides, a deeper connection to your soul's wisdom and how you're navigating this lifetime with your spiritual self. So here comes this trine, and Mars is actually going to perhaps feel infused with new cosmic support and wisdom. There could be a sense here of understanding what to let go of, because Neptune in Pisces wants you to detach from anything that's been an emotional burden or too heavy. Will give you unexpected support, as well as divine timing comes through whenever there is a trine from Neptune and Pisces. So January 12th, there could be some blessings, some developments, encouragement, inspiration that comes through that also calms down this Mars retrograde in Cancer, that allows it to diffuse whatever that internal emotional turmoil may be. Now, I just did a podcast for you on January 6th discussing this Mars retrograde in Cancer journey and what could be stirred up, what could be coming up within you, because this is a very uncomfortable Mars. Mars isn't well suited for the Cancer expressions, and Mars retrograde doesn't like being held back. So here Mars is swimming, treading water, trying to figure out how to make moves or get things done, and feels challenged. But the trine from Neptune and Pisces provides more ease, grace, and flow. So allow that into your awareness with the understanding that everything is in divine order. There is always something you can trust in the universal flow of energies. And when you go higher to that level of consciousness, it can calm you. It can bring about great ease and better flow. Now, also on January 12th, the nodes of fate change signs for the next 18 months. And what I'm looking at here is related to the true node. The true node will move into Pisces on January 12th, and it will stay there until July 27th, 2026. The nodes of fate are calculated in two separate ways. They're tracked in two different timelines. And so we have the true node and we have the mean node. And the mean node doesn't enter Pisces until January 29th and then stays in Pisces until August 18th, 2026. So it's an 18-month journey, but you might be hearing different dates referenced depending on whether it's the true node or the mean node that is being discussed. I do have a video for you on YouTube that is a tutorial into understanding how the nodes of fate move in reverse through each astrology sign. And I will be doing a Monday podcast on this transition of the nodes of fate. We will discuss it more thoroughly as the North Node moving into Pisces and the South Node moving into Virgo opens up more karmic understandings of changes, shifts, growth, elevation, what you're meant to let go of, where you have already served your time, so to speak, what you have already fulfilled. And when the nodes of fate change signs, essentially it means we have new soul assignments. We have new areas of growth here that we need to implement and understand. We have new ways of honoring the higher expression of the North Node, which is in Pisces, and continues to bring more of a focal point of energy to the Pisces areas of your chart. This means we are now collectively focused on moving higher into our intuitive development, our spiritual understandings, our detachment, an ability to surrender to what is. There is greater trust here in this North Node in Pisces. There's more desire for creativity and artistic freedom. There's a desire as well to take a break, to relax, to not overly do it, not to force an agenda or force a timeline. That's part of the surrender with this North Node in Pisces. We are stepping into what we've earned through different lifetimes as well, because Pisces is about divine timing. There are things here that will just show up and come through that perhaps you've been focused on, you've been wanting to manifest, you've been working through any fears or limitations, what's been holding you back. And now that North Node in Pisces wants to take you higher, wants to show you what you're ready for as part of your next level of soul growth, and also to reward what you've been trusting. We say the words trust and faith a lot, and we can feel like we're waiting, or is this really happening, or what's going on? And yet the energy of Pisces can be quite magical in bringing about what you are now energetically in alignment with. And so as that North Node moves to 29 degrees of Pisces, understand that this is a point of pure nothingness. There's an emptiness at the very last degree of the zodiac wheel. 29 degrees of Pisces is a void. And there might be an invitation here for you to get silent, to listen to your intuition, tune in to what you have been sensing or feeling, to get out of the mind and to tune into those higher frequencies that can be just whispers until we turn up the volume and trust them more. So we will discuss even more of this in Monday's podcast, because there is a lot to go into here as the nodes of fate change signs. Now, conversely, this means that the South Node in Virgo reveals what you are letting go of and moving away from because you're outgrowing it. The South Node is where we can be too comfortable. Energies are familiar and known. You understand what it's about. It can even bring out the worst in you because there isn't always that need to grow or do better with the South Node. So we're going to be understanding more of our unconscious Virgo tendencies, unconscious behaviors, expressions, choices, and we're going to have new choice points around how we want to upgrade our daily lives, how we want to make new routines and establish new habits that are much better for our well-being. Virgo connects us to the mind-body relationship, how we integrate that, how we honor that. If we're listening to our body consciousness, or we override it with the mind, if we're honoring our health, our well-being, our physical needs, if we feel mentally engaged in the work we do, if there's stimulation and things of interest that you're focused on every day, or have you outgrown it? What needs to be cleared, transmitted, and released in the Virgo areas of your chart? What is done and over for you? And that South Node is going to highlight it. You're going to feel bored, disengaged. You're also going to have to stay on top of how you use your energy so that you're still in your power and making choices that are good for you, especially related to overthinking, guilt, anxiety, stress. We're also becoming more aware of the toll it takes on our body. Physical health is highly accentuated with the Pisces-Virgo axis. It's about making sure that we're using our energy responsibly and we're knowing when to step back, knowing when to disconnect, to turn off the computer, to shut off the phone, and to be in the moment, to be in the fullness of our everyday presence. So we have a shift here. And it's going to be quite important to understand it if you have planets or points in Pisces or Virgo. So again, I'll be discussing that more on the Monday, January 13th podcast. On January 13th, we have the Cancer full moon at 24 degrees of Cancer, which involves a positive connection to Uranus retrograde in Taurus, also at 24 degrees. Both the sun in Capricorn and that moon in Cancer will be working with Uranus and Taurus at 24 degrees, January 13th. And this is a Cancer full moon that highlights the Cancer energies in your life. So going back to what I mentioned about home, family, your personal environment. You may have a new awareness around what's working for you and what's not, including family dynamics. This Cancer full moon is especially big because it is conjunct that Mars retrograde in Cancer. So the full moon is at 24 degrees of Cancer and Mars is at 27 degrees of Cancer, bringing in more of an emotional response, activation, heightened energies here. There can be a lot that comes out, that is flushed out, that is being purged. This relates to powerful emotional expressions, your needs, and what you're feeling. It's a very unsettled energy, and it also does not have regulation, meaning there is a sense of everything is fine and cool until that Mars conjunct the full moon blasts open some scalding hot water. So this is where there is a lack of neutrality in the emotional space. It feels perhaps that the energies are more personal, more sensitive. There can be more defensiveness here. There can be a sense of also having more to do, more to say. That Mars is a trigger, and even though Mars is retrograde in Cancer, the desire for movement is strong, but there could be a sense of how to move the energy because it's in the watery domains of Cancer. So then we would work with water as our guiding force, whether that would be the shower, the bath, a pool, jumping in the river, any form of water, especially water that purifies with salt or a filter, is highlighted as well. There's going to be more emotional triggers with this Cancer full moon. However, there is support from that Neptune in Pisces, as I mentioned previously, helping that Mars retrograde in Cancer move the energy responsibly and for the highest good. Also, that Uranus retrograde in Taurus at 23 degrees, 24 degrees, is breaking you free of what has been restraining you, is shaking up the energy to see it in a new light or to understand more of what you want from a fresh angle. Uranus is surprises, awakenings, breakthroughs. Uranus is disruptions. So note that whatever might feel especially powerful or big, emotionally big during this Cancer full moon working with Mars, that Uranus is going to shake it up and show you what you didn't see before, perhaps bring in a higher awareness around what you're ready to change, what's been holding you back, and how to make moves and shift it up, especially in the physical world. And that's because Uranus is in Taurus and it's trining that sun in Capricorn in Taurus. So changes in your physical world, changes in your projects, your finances, your developments, your manifestations. These are also quick moving changes. I think of Uranus as the hustler. It's the hustler in the zodiac that makes things happen quickly. You make moves, you get it done, you take care of this to take care of that. There's a lot that Uranus stirs up that requires more fast action. But in Taurus, which will resist the change and doesn't move fast, we could even feel that the changes have been delayed. There's been too much resistance or stagnation, but Uranus will override it. And Uranus will say, okay, now's the time for this development to happen. It's coming, ready or not. And with this Cancer full moon, it is beneficial. It is forward movement, and it's something that Uranus wants to change, and in fact has been working with since Uranus first got to 23 degrees of Taurus back in May 2024. So this could be the Cancer full moon that brings about an emotional push, an emotional shift, an emotional awakening into your world, which is one of the energies that the sun in Capricorn represents. The world at large, but also your world and how you have dominion over your world. So consider the changes that are for your best and highest good, because that is one of the best expressions of this Cancer full moon, again on January 13th. I will have a video for you on YouTube going through the chart, since it has a beautiful cradle aspect in it as well. We had a cradle aspect in a full moon last fall. Now we have another cradle aspect that is a container of cosmic consciousness directly related to how you feel, what is guiding you, what is personally fulfilling for you. And I see that cradle as an emotional container of what you're ready to create from that space. Now, on January 14th, Venus in Pisces will square Jupiter retrograde in Gemini at 11 degrees. Venus squaring Jupiter retrograde is something is removed. Venus in Pisces is a loss, a disappointment, a removal. Squaring that Jupiter in Gemini could be something you didn't want to hear, you didn't expect to hear, but it's also soft. There's a softness to Venus in Pisces, so it can be something that you get over quickly. It doesn't linger. Maybe you're already feeling it because Venus in Pisces has her senses out and is intuitively picking up on everything. So this is a change here that comes about that Venus in Pisces needs to process and let go of. But the good news here is that both Venus in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini are signs of duality. They're the signs connected with two options, two paths, two choices. So if it isn't one thing, it will be another. And that is part of the built-in energy of this signature here. So if your first choice isn't available, you might have to go with the second choice. The first choice is sold out, but the second choice isn't so bad. The other way to use this energy is to look at what you need to clear out. What is no longer needed? What can you get rid of, recycle, give away, or sell? Because that Venus in Pisces is about lightening your load in the physical world, looking at what you don't need in your space, what is taking up too much energy, too much time. It's just too much. And Venus in Pisces can help you get rid of it and clear it out so that you feel better. And that's one thing that she reconnects you with. How does this feel? Am I holding on to something past its due date, past its energetic expression date where I don't really value it anymore? I don't really even like it. So this is a good time to clear out your surroundings and maybe make some decisions around what truly brings value and good energy into your space. And if you're feeling indecisive, which can happen with this Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, then that means the answer is not in the head. It's not in the mind. It's in the energetic experience. So consider another way to make decisions, such as feng shui. Is this energetically good in my home, in my office? What is a way to open up the energy, to create more flow, more abundance, more positivity? So work with the energetics instead of the mind to determine what stays and what goes, especially as Venus and Pisces will assist you with intuitive guidance around what is best. Then when we get to January 15th, we have another opposition involving Mars retrograde in Cancer. The Sun in Capricorn at 26 degrees will oppose this Mars in Cancer. And this is another standoff that would feel quite intense, as if you're being personally challenged, that there is an external force or power outside of you that is opposing your actions, your desires, what you want. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast here, one of the higher ways of working with this form of opposition is to go higher and create that third alchemy point where you see that, okay, the Sun in Capricorn is about my responsibilities, my sovereignty, my commitments, how I maintain my energy, how I'm able to stay on track with my purpose, get things done, and be aware of what matters for the long term. Mars retrograde in Cancer is bringing you into your feelings, your heart, your gut. And this Mars is connecting you to how you really feel. If there's been any suppressed anger, any suppressed frustration, impatience, it's all spinning up. It's all spinning around here. And with this opposition, again, at 26 degrees of Capricorn and 26 degrees of Cancer, that Sun in Capricorn is actually the stronger influence and wants you to stay focused on the long term. That if there are no perhaps immediate results, which Mars loves, if there isn't any immediate gratification or anything coming through that feels validating, which Mars in Cancer seeks, then that Sun in Capricorn is reminding you to take the long road approach. Look at where you're going, look at what matters over the course of time, stay focused, stay aware, stay responsible with what you're feeling, and have outlets to manage it. So that Mars in Cancer, he always needs an outlet for what he's feeling so that it doesn't become suppressed, because anything that's held back or held within, that creates other energetic forms in the physical body. That is where ease becomes dis-ease or disease, and our bodies manifest that energy in other forms. So I feel too that with this Mars retrograde, we need to stay in deeper connection with our body consciousness and what is flowing through us. So consuming more water is important. Looking at if you're holding too much water, if you've taken on too much water weight, and not just physical water, but emotional energy. If you're holding emotions that you're not releasing or not allowing to flow, this is a time period here to look at how you're managing that. The Sun in Capricorn is responsible management of our energy in all forms. So if you need to take a break, take time off, if you need to care for your emotional self, do that. Make that a priority. In other words, don't fight yourself. But if you are fighting yourself, if you're realizing that's happening within you, then there's an opportunity here to go higher. Again, the push comes to shove can take you to a higher alchemy point that is that third point of co-creation between both of the needs and expressions of each astrological sign. Mars in Cancer is seeking safety for his true expressions. Allow that Sun in Capricorn to provide a container for that. Also, the Capricorn energy can be world weary, can be tired, negative, worn down, and even out of touch with what you're feeling. Allow that Mars in Cancer retrograde to be a messenger of what you're really feeling, and to allow that to be honored and to provide you with more insight into what you need right now. So again, take the best of both the Cancer and Capricorn expressions over this next week and allow them to guide you to that higher third alchemy point where you're using them actively. Both has the opportunity to speak up or to say what it needs, to say what it feels. One is not being shut down or repressed at the expense of the other. And that can happen with these oppositions where one can dominate the conversation or dominate the energy, but both are being represented. Both need to be represented here, and they need to find a higher way to do that so that you're not resorting to any of that highly difficult standoff energy of oppositions. You also could receive some wonderful validation at this time around this oppositional energy. You could clearly see what you've outgrown, how you've outgrown something, who you've outgrown. You can see that some things, they don't bother you. They don't get to you. They're not even infringing on your energy. I'm getting the visual of Minions in that movie Despicable Me, as well as in the movie called Minions, where some people's energy are so small, like they're just not important. They're not relevant. They don't make an impact. It doesn't matter how loud they yell or what they're doing to be demonstrative, right? It's like they just don't matter. Maybe it's a reminder that your diet doesn't include nothing burgers, right? Because there's nothing there that is relevant to you or connects to your energy. So this could be an important time of boundaries and barriers and staying focused on your best and highest good, not allowing yourself to get pulled into other people's emotional tantrums and their extremely low vibes, because that energy will be coming up with these oppositions. It will be triggered. It brings out the best and the worst in people. That's another way that oppositions work, is that they tend to show up as extremes, especially when Mars is involved. And as we've been discussing, we know that we've had Mars opposing Pluto. So bigger extremes, life-changing extremes. But I feel that that Sun in Capricorn is helping you understand what is important at the core of your being, how to maintain and hold your energy in a self-loving way, and to carry forward on your path knowing that yes, there will be nothing burgers on the menu. There will be ridiculous little minions grasping at anything just to stay relevant, but they're not relevant. And that's going to be one of the big themes here as we move through 2025. There are people who are going to be over and complete. They are going to be done and removed. The universe is saying no more. We're not tolerating this. This isn't a part of where humanity's going. Those are the people that are collapsing. They are floundering, grasping at straws, looking for anything in order to make money, stay relevant, be important, maintain a job, maintain a title. You might see this in the workplace as well, that certain leaders are no longer energetically fit to lead the population or to lead a group. We're going to see more collapses in leadership, people stepping down, being required to step down, by the way, because it's what's happening behind closed doors that's the real story. A lot of strategic moves are unfolding right now, and there's been a lot that's being realigned in the background. And so it's going to be fascinating because for some people, the way they start this year is going to look very, very different than how they end 2025. So if you are committed to growth and learning, if you're committed to working with energies, to being responsible with all forms of expression, meaning you're responsible with your emotions, your mind, your physical body, your spiritual self, you're stepping up, you're pushing yourself forward. That is where you are moving into higher alignment with greater ease. Now, keep in mind, the universe wants everyone to grow. The universe doesn't discriminate. Rather, it comes down to free will and personal sovereignty. And so some aren't going to be able, or rather aren't willing, to change, grow, or evolve with these energies. And it's important to detach and accept their choices, accept where they're at, and to also be objective about it. The more you're able to do that, the more energy you're going to have for your own purpose and path at this time. There's also choices people are making they can never come back from. They can never come back from in this lifetime. They can't correct it. They can't make it better. They can't improve it. It's like they're already on a certain trajectory that is necessary for them to go down and play out. It's one of the themes I'm seeing here with this Mars retrograde. And then, of course, we have the upcoming Venus retrograde that will start March 1st. So big realigning here and reprogramming with the Mars and feminine energies within each of us, as well as in the collective. There's big consequences unfolding. And actually, I want to tell you a story because, again, I'm seeing this in the real world. I know 3 masculines who have been unexpectedly fired due to their choices and behaviors. And one is from a friend of mine in her workplace. Her boss was taking advantage of his position and what he had access to in his position. And she and I have talked about his choices for the past few years and how it's affected her because that's her boss. And then she's the one who's had to take care of more responsibilities, hold things together, and also has been doing more of the work behind the scenes. Well, what he's been doing is he would take sick days or say he was going to work from home, but he was taking all these trips. He would not be in the office, which is now required of them. And instead, he would be going to Boston, he would be in Napa Valley, flew to Hawaii for a week, and then just recently, he called in sick when really he was in Singapore. The problem is that the weekend before, he was at a party and he told people that he was going to call in sick and be in Singapore. It's like, dude, you're not supposed to give that away. So sure enough, it all caught up to him and she was telling me about this and I'm like, he's going to be fired. This Mars retrograde opposing Pluto, you don't mess around. You don't try to get away with things. You don't lie and try to cover it up. Your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. So sure enough, he was fired because the consequences of his actions caught up to him and also greatly damaged his reputation in his profession. This also plays into Capricorn things, which is how you're viewed, how other people respect you and look up to you, how you handle responsibilities and your workload and your job title, etc. So his professional reputation has been damaged. Not to say that that won't change or that he can't fix it later, but his industry is small. Well, actually, every industry is small. If you've been around enough, you know every industry is small. Everyone talks about everyone. Humans are wildly predictable like that. And these energies of this Mars retrograde aren't playing around. So it's bringing about the consequences and changes based on the choices that people have been making. So that's going to continue. Work with it powerfully. Allow that push to shove energy to take you higher, to elevate your consciousness, to make a new choice, especially if you're feeling stuck or in any kind of power struggle or control dynamic. Go higher into the new energy, the higher energy that will have a solution for you. It will have a breakthrough, a new understanding, a shift. There will be something that supports you when you willingly go higher and push yourself to grow out of a comfort zone. So the big energies continue this week, and I hope this has given you a good heads up on how to manage them and how to work with them from a more evolved state. I'll have more to share with you about the Cancer full moon on YouTube. Those videos will be out by the end of this week. And be sure to check out my YouTube playlist where I have a ton of free content for you to learn more about your astrology chart, your energy signature, and the transiting planets of right now. It's really important to get a heads up on how the energies of 2025 are going to play out for you. So be sure and sign up for my 2025 Soul Growth Astrology program, because that's where you understand how the next 12 months are going to be working with you. So you really want to understand what's going on with this upcoming Venus retrograde that starts March 1st, plus the eclipses that will happen in March. We have a lot going on in March with Neptune moving into Aries at the end of the month and the next Mercury retrograde. So I put together this program for you so you can be your own astrologer. You can understand your chart better. You're learning more about your energy cycles and what is coming up for you in this lifetime, and you're able to work with it from an empowered place. And I'm so happy to hear from many of you about how this is benefiting you and how it's helping you plan your year ahead with the astrological conditions that are coming up. So be sure to check out the program. You can get it for only $44 with coupon code 2025 as we cover all the major astrology of the year. And I'm sure you've heard it's a big year. It's big changes, big endings, big things that are showing up for you more personally. So come on over and check it out, and I look forward to connecting with you there. In the meantime, I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday for a new podcast episode, plus more updates on my YouTube channel. Take good care, and I hope you have a beautiful Cancer full moon this week. I'll see you back here soon.